When you can control your attitude, you really solve the secret of life. You solve the secret of everything, if it is a secret. Attitude. If I had one word that would sum up life itself and what makes one person one way and another person another way, it would have to be attitude. That covers it all. Let me give you an example of attitude. But this person owned a carpet shop. In the shop, he had a few $1 million worth of carpet that belonged to other people. As he's coming to Exposition Boulevard, to where his shop is, he sees smoke pouring into the sky. Smoke. Wow, somebody's in trouble, because it was an industrial neighborhood. And as he's coming to the street that he's on, the side street that he's on, just off Exposition, he sees fire trucks there and police cars and people milling around, and smoke is pouring into the sky still. And he wants to pull into the street, but one of the firemen says, "You can't go in there." And my friend says, "Oh, why not?" And the fellow says, "Well, because one of the shops is on fire." And he said, "Which one?" And the fireman said, "The carpet shop." He said, "But I own the carpet shop." "Oh, you own it? Well, you better go in. The chief wants to talk to you." Well, now my friend's stomach hit the bottom of the floor when he heard that. Uh-oh. And as he drives to his shop, he sees smoke pouring out of every window, and all the carpet layers are standing around in the front of the shop, all worried. Well, he looks at this and he knows he's bankrupt. Why? Because there's a number of things that are bad for carpet. Water is one thing, fire is another, and smoke, and he's getting a heavy dose of all three. So he figures he's ruined. He's going bankrupt. Now, this is the point where attitude comes in. This is a point where one person has a heart attack and another person comes out smelling like a rose. My friend was the smelling like a rose attitude, vibratory. How did he do it? What did he do to get that way? He drove around the block thinking, gee, I haven't had a vacation in years. I think I'll take the weekend and go somewhere. Well, no, I'll take 2 weeks off. Where should I go? And now as he's driving around the block to circle and go back and talk to the chief, the fire chief, he's saying, Jamaica. My wife and I have never been to Jamaica. We're going to go to Jamaica. And now he's driving in and he's almost smiling. Now he doesn't want to smile because they'll think he started the fire. He comes up and the fire chief says, "Well, we saved your place." "What do you mean you saved my place? You got smoke?" No, it's okay. What we did, they chopped a hole in the ceiling and the smoke that was pouring out was not going into the carpet. They had blowers in there and they were very careful with sandbag. What had happened, not 1 inch of carpet was lost. Anyway, I'm really making this story short because I'm giving you an idea what attitude can do. This fellow was vibrating at the right pace. What do I mean by that? Well, he was vibrating at a very positive pace. How can I make this a positive? That was not the thought in his mind. The thought in his mind was, well, let's see, I've got a couple of weeks. I'm going to go bankrupt. He accepted that. He wasn't concerned with the bankruptcy. He was concerned, what was he going to do with 2 weeks? Going to take a vacation to get over this. That's how you handle your attitude. Vibrations is attitude.
So many people say, how do you stay in the flow of life? How do you stay on that vibration where you're completely up all the time? How do you maintain your positive attitude? Stop judging all situations. You, by default, stay in the flow. And if you can get your head around that, then everything is super cool. When water flows down riverbeds, sometimes it twists and it turns and it comes up against obstacles. But it flows over these obstacles because it doesn't judge these obstacles. It doesn't try and go through these obstacles. It just accepts that these obstacles are there and it just naturally flows around. So when things are happening in your life and you get a challenge or an obstacle, the trick is to not judge it. Don't consider it a certain way, or don't view it as though it's hard or tough or it's big or small. Just look at everything the same. Take the illusory sting out of everything that could potentially arise in your space by just allowing it to be there. It's that simple. And all of these ripples are created with your perception. You look at something and say, oh my gosh, that is a nightmare, that's bad. But it's not a nightmare or bad. It's just a situation. It's not good, it's not bad. It's not hard, it's not easy. It's just what it is. Stop labeling, stop judging. We shouldn't be judging anybody by the ripples, the waves that are created on the surface, by the underlying currents of the thoughts inside of our minds. It's that simple to feel yourself on the deepest possible level. Zero judgments, completely in the flow. And that, my friend, is how you stay on a high vibration. By realizing that there is no high vibration. There is no low vibration. There is no intermediate vibration. There's just the flow. Just a continuous stream of consciousness. So for you to bounce and bubble and love with infinite compassion, and to be all that you can be, and to live the most extraordinary version of yourself right now, in this 3D reality, you need to let go of the 3D reality. You need to let go of everything in your environment around you, and you need to flow. Caress everything that flows into your path with love, with affection, an open heart, and underlying clarity, because you know that everything you meet in your path is a part of you. And how can anything that's a part of you, this one stream of consciousness, get in your way? Does water get in the way of water as water flows down a river? No, it doesn't. So how can you get in the way of yourself flowing through life? and let the magic inside of your soul carry you on this magical journey.
It is the sentence of this court that for the brutal and despicable crime of murder in the first degree, you shall hang by the neck until dead.
No, I'm not going through this again.
It is the sentence of this court that for the brutal and despicable crime of murder in the first degree, you be hanged by the neck until dead.
You shall hang by the neck until dead.
You be hanged by the neck until dead.
Enthusiasm is really way up there, if not number one. Maybe it's not number one, but it certainly is way up there. It's the one that flashed with the neon lights. That's what I need to carry forward, and that is what has super served me in the past. So enthusiasm. Just enthusiasm. I'm an enthusiastic person. If you've watched a lot of my stuff, you know, it kind of comes through in those videos. I'm enthusiastic about my life, about my friends, about my pets, about my hobbies, about everything. About food that I eat. I'm enthusiastic. Enthusiasm has served me incredibly well. I think that it has kept me energized. I think it's part of how I have so much energy to do the things that I think of doing that I'd like to do. I have plenty of energy to do them because I'm so enthusiastic. Enthusiastic, I think, has helped keep me healthy. I'm very, very healthy. I think that enthusiasm has played a huge role in that. I think enthusiasm has played a role in keeping the channels of creativity open so that I'm always thinking of new and fun ideas, whether it's for my business or my life personally. I think enthusiasm has helped me when I've had big challenges, and I've had my fair share of challenges and problems, but yet I've worked through them pretty darn quickly and amazingly enthusiastically have worked through them. I think that enthusiasm has allowed for or opened the gateways for creative problem solving so that I could get through those problems more quickly. I also think that enthusiasm all by itself serves as kind of an autopilot attractor frequency for generating positive outcomes in life, for just generally attracting positive stuff. And when you think about it, enthusiasm is like when we're thinking about our future and we're enthusiastic about it, enthusiasm has built into it the assumption that whatever is around the corner is going to be positive. And that assumption is a thought pattern that helps attract that positive outcome. So it's a built-in generator of positive enthusiasm. If you can bring it up in yourself, it's going to help attract positive outcomes because there's an assumption of positiveness in the very sensation or the very structure of enthusiasm. So all those things I think have really served me very well and helped get me to where I am today. And again, I definitely want to carry enthusiasm into the future with me. The other thing I pondered about a little bit was, do I actually know anyone that falls into the category of feeling incredibly contented with their life, incredibly satisfied with where they've come from and what they've done so far? Do I know anyone that falls into that category that isn't enthusiastic? And the answer is no, I don't. Every person that falls into the category that I know that is incredibly content with their life is a person who has been enthusiastic about their life, that they're waking up every day enthused about simply being alive. So I think it's not just me. I think that it's a valuable trait and an emotional state, kind of you can think of it as a trait or an emotional state. I think it's a very, very valuable trait to develop. Not letting the subconscious mind pull you into the gutter. The importance of managing our thoughts, which in turn will manage our feelings. And we've got the conscious and the subconscious categories to consider, and we need to consider both and get serious about managing them, which I have done in my personal life for decades. So mind management would be number one. Number two, acquired energy. We pick up a lot of energy from people and places and objects. There's lots of ways that it can happen, but we are influenced hugely, or can be influenced hugely, by other people's thoughts and feelings. So how engaged are we with negative thoughts and feelings? Are we watching the news and reading books that make us sad and suck us into the negative emotional feelings of whoever wrote the book or whatever's on the news, or are we hanging out with people who are upbeat and positive, and the type of infection we'll get from those people, what we'll acquire from those people are real upbeat, positive feelings. Hopefully, even enthusiasm is what we're going to acquire from those people. So doing things to more effectively manage the acquisition of other energies, putting ourselves in situations where we won't acquire as much, because acquisition of other people's energies, thoughts and feelings happens very regularly. Where you put yourself, the relationships that you put yourself in can be hugely impacting, and we can manage where we put ourselves. We can also manage many ways to manage what we do acquire when it's not in our best interest. For example, if you acquire depression, which is one of the easiest energies of all to acquire from other people, it passes like a germ. It's just amazing. What to do if you do acquire a depression? If you acquire it, you're going to lose your enthusiasm. It's going to be that simple. It could be that you simply acquired a big batch of depression from someone. How do you get rid of that stuff? There's actually ways to do it. So managing acquired energies, managing the electromagnetic field of the heart. If you want to be able to be perpetually enthusiastic, to feel that emotion often, you need to keep the electromagnetic field of the heart in really great shape on my website. But 14 months I went without feeling enthusiasm, which was so unnatural for me. And it was all a byproduct of a complete crash of the electromagnetic field of my heart. So it's important to learn about that and learn how to manage that. And it's more easy to manage than you might ever imagine, but you need to learn about it and attend to it. So we've got manage your belief codes, the subconscious thought patterns. Number 2, manage acquired energies. Number 3, manage the electromagnetic field of your heart. These are all subtle energy things. My hope for you would be that you're looking at those years ahead enthusiastically, that you sense really great things for yourself, and you're generating enough enthusiasm to take each step towards that future with that beat of enthusiasm, because that is what's going to guarantee for you a positive future, or a more positive future than if that didn't exist. So with that, I conclude my little insightful message tonight. Hopefully that gives you some tips and raises the flag a little bit, put your attention a little bit more strongly on this single emotional state, enthusiasm. It's important. It's priceless. Get busy at learning how to create more of it. You'll benefit tremendously. Bye for now.
That's a part that's often not attended to as to what the causal level is. Well, depression and anxiety both come from one similar cause, and that's a feeling of powerlessness. Out of that sense of powerlessness, the whole brain chemistry has changed. It's resonating the feelings throughout the body, making some people more anxious, some people more depressed, other people a combination of the two. In that sense of powerlessness, there's helplessness, there's hopelessness, there's despair, there's a deep mood, there's a lot of passivity, a movement into just becoming inactive in severe forms. So it's a very debilitating kind of state for us to be in. Of course, from the bottom line piece, the cause of all of our human suffering is really a case of mistaken identity. One where we think we're separate from the all that is, or the unified field, or the source energy, or God, or whatever people want to call it. Because in that state, we feel separate, and we feel little, we feel powerless. And in that powerlessness, it produces anxiety, and it produces depression. But that's a part that's not normally attended to in the dealing with both of these. We tend to deal with it in our culture primarily trying to change the brain chemistry without getting to the source of what's behind that change in the brain chemistry. It's like in the new field of epigenetics. We used to think genes were locked in, they were unchangeable. But now in the field of epigenetics, epi means above that. What is above the gene? We'll say, what is above this problem? What's upstream that's causing the problem? That's a part that's often not attended to as to what the causal level is.